Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, wherever you are joining me at this moment. Welcome to 244 edition of Investdata Trading Academy live with Ambrose. Yes, the market across the globe at this moment looks flat, and this has a lot of investors and traders in this market trying to digest the recent macroeconomic data and also news of one event as regard the domain, market are reacting to those news as we speak now. On that note, this oscillation was seen, for the previous month of March, might likely continue this month. But as we speak now, most of this market are flat and mixed, waiting for a trigger and also as they react to the one that's already manifested. That the chart is revealing to us as normally as traders, especially technical traders, look at this chart to see what is saying about event and how market are reacting to this event. The good thing is that, like I always say, that if you are trading any of the instruments, you need to put your stop loss in place, to have your entry and your exit target, have your buy range, and at the same time, this will help you to achieve your goal. But if you don't trade your plan, it just like just having it and not making effect. But when you trade your plans, I tell you, it reduce your risk and also to help you to give you focus to achieve your goal on time. That is why you need to have a plan, and also when you trade it, it becomes easier for you to achieve your goal. This is the good thing of having a plan, and when you trade your plan, it helps you to get where you are going on time. Like I said, that the market across the globe has opened on a flat note and missed. Also, if you look at what is happening in local market today, down here in Nigeria, NGS has opened slightly in the green, but as we speak, that's slight also to red. But before we come to live market, it's possible that it's going to adjust up again. But let's look at what is happening, in the global market. Like I always say, that is top to bottom in terms of analysis when you are looking at what is happening. As we speak now, yesterday I told you about OPEC, sudden price hike, production cut, which has impacted on the price. As we speak now, oil price maintain an uptrend, gain a hard trade at around 85.58 dollar per barrel as we speak now. You know what the impact will be on the slowdown we are seeing in rate hike. As we speak, we notice that the Reserve Bank of Australia has left the interest rate recently unchanged around the 3.6 in that domain to see what about this recent hike in oil price. Is it going to trigger another rate hike? And these are what central banks of the world will also be looking at, because the action or the impact of rate hike in this mature economy, we have seen how it has caused a bank crisis in US and Europe. And as we speak now, most economy also are grappling with this high interest rate, because productivities or what we call global business activities are slowed down, and this has a lot of this high interest rate that has dominated the activities of treasury banks of different countries is also reflecting on global world, on global purchasing manager index as we speak. Yesterday we saw that US released their March manufacturing what we call industrial purchasing manager index for the month of March, and this came as what are disappointing to many analysts and investors or traders in that domain, as we saw that this index move lower again to around around 46.3 from 47.7 in the month of February. You can see that it's not only the bank is getting the heat of rate hike, it is also reflecting on the economy, and that is why you see that the increase of increasing fear of recession is becoming something. Many analysts also are concerned with that. If there is a recession, the oil price that has gone up, if there is no demand, because if there is a recession and demand, no fear of demand of this product will also naturally bring this oil price down. Now that we are seeing that the cut has made it, that's why a lot of analysts or investors, especially those that are trading commodity, are still looking at this. Yes, they have seen an jump of almost $5 in less than 2 days. Will it continue? Because if the way we are seeing that the recent potential manager across the globe, the one that came from Asia, I saw it yesterday, that showed that the China economy was not expanding, the business activity was not expanding. Also, US also was just as I just giving you the point. Then, if you come back here and look at Nigeria, we'll come to it, and all these are what is shaping the market as we speak now. And for me, these will have an influence on how to invest, and that is why looking at sectorial and industry become very crucial and important at this point, because it will help you to to make a wise decision what we should do. Because if we are seeing that rate hike remain across these central banks, and also we are seeing that the economy is slowing down. Because when you look at this global business activities that is slowing down, it's going to reflect on the companies that are operating in this domain as we speak. For that is why many investors are looking at which sector or which industry should I be putting my money, and reaction to this also going to put the market on a sell pressure or on a negative sentiment because of this pandemic. And also, don't forget that as we are coming, this is the last month for the first quarter of the year, and we have seen a decline in terms of economic activities in this global space. It is going to reflect on the number that will come from these companies, and that also, don't forget that we always say that there's equities or feed on what on earnings, and if the earnings are weak, it's going to also reflect on what on the price movement of the stock. But these figures are coming and making it very clear where they are heading to, and that also guide us as investor on what to do at this particular time. Yes, as we speak now, if you look at what is happening in Europe, yes, forget to tell you about the fear also in US market that now that the first time ex-president or is been be arraigned for what for one crime or the other in court, that is what in US market. I said that most of the activities there are flat because they are going to see if what is going to come out from Donald Trump set to be arraigned in New York today. What's going to play out? These are the things we are looking at. I've mentioned about the OPEC price adjustment. How is it going to influence Fed and other central bank, because this is going to trigger another likely inflation. Because if the oil price continues to go up, it has the way also for also kind of dragging prices up, and this is what we should also look at, because I will tell you this will determine what the central banks also will do, and that's why I'll tell you as I speak now, most of investors or traders are looking at to see where will the market go from here. That's why I told you earlier that most of the market are flat, while some are missed as we speak, as all eyes on what on this outcome that we're going to come from ahead of Trump in US, and not only that, oil price that continue to rally is going to also affect the decision of what of the policymakers in terms of rate. But there's a sign already that we saw that in Asia, we saw that in Australia, we saw that the central bank they have kind of lived there the first time they since all this rate hike started in the war, that they are leave it on change for the first time. Good, but if oil price continue, and also one thinking that if economy continue to also to go on contraction, what will drive those prices again? And when there is weak demand, prices are likely to come down. It's as simple as that. On this note, US market is flat. Only one indicator there is also green. Others are flat, and in Europe also the same thing. Europe market is mixed as we speak, and Asia market is also in that direction. Africa market is also not left behind, because as we speak now, the indices of this major market are also oscillating, waiting for another trigger or not. But as I told you earlier, it is this economic data that is shaping the market, and also we expect that the pause in interest rate might turn around some economy if no action is taken on time. Like I said that today we'll be also be looking at some some earnings that were released to the market during the week. It's important that we look that way so that you can see how these companies have performed, that it will help you also to guide the decision. I know that most of you have seen this number already before now, but as we look at it together and also explain one or two things, it also have a way of guiding us to know exactly what to do in the regards of this number. Yes, if you look at the number that I've released so far to the market, if you look at it, I will tell you, 70% of this number we are good, but almost 70% of the numbers payout was not impressive. Only few of this company payout has been encouraging, and investors are still reacting in that direction where they see a high payout from these companies. Because if I told you earlier last 2 weeks that the kind of mixed market we are seeing before now is a conflict or or tension between rate and read and yield. And now we are seeing that if the rate or the yield in fixed income market is becoming more attractive, and we are seeing low yield from the equity market due to what low payout, not because of low earnings. But in this regard, it is now done on investors and traders to see, is it a healthy company that you are interested in, or a company that has a high payout. But for investors, I'll tell you, investors want both. They want their company to be healthy and also have a good payout to work, because they are investors that bear the risk of this company. Anything that happens, it is an investor that, for that, if a company is in profit and we are giving payout, it has a way of encouraging investors about the company. But when the company has done well with good numbers, and you see that the company payout is not looking good, it worries a lot of investors, and that is why we need to put this thing in perspective so that we will know exactly what is happening. Yes, first of all, I want to look at the numbers that came from the banking sector, and which I know you have seen. If you look at the number that came from UBA for this period were that's under review, this number that came from UBA was impressive, and every investor really want to identify with UBA. You can see that the price has remained stable because of what improved payout. Yes, despite that the earnings were still strong, the payout were around 90 kobo. Is still more better than flat of 80 kobo. This is what investors bet that the company number is healthy. It shows that they're able to manage what the Ghana debt crisis and the bond issue that was been there. That's why these numbers can remain in this direction. If you look at the top line of UBA, especially the gross earning, you can see that it moved from you can see that it moved from from 660.22 billion to 853.2 billion, representing 29, almost 30%, 29.29% in the green. Also, profit after tax also, before even the profit before tax was also positive. And if you look at the interest income of this company, the net interest income, it shows that there is also improvement. And these are the reflection or impact of what high interest rate that most of these banks have enjoyed this period. And I believe that once these banks continue this rate in this tempo, or this at this trend in this 2023, the banking sector will be more attractive for investors, especially even as we are seeing some macroeconomic data that shows us that the economy has contracted for almost 2 quarters now, for the month of for 2 months, for the month of February, and the month of what and the month of March, because we have seen the purchasing manager for the month of March already released yesterday from Stanbic IBTC. According to the data that we released, we saw that the purchasing manager for the month of March contracted further to 42.3 point against 44.7 in the month of February. And this was attributed to what the cash crunch issue that many was not having access to, and that affected the private sector were hit because of their inventory turnaround was slow, because most of their goods were on the shelf, because there was no cash to have access to it. But who believe that now that the CBN has come with another strategy to release all these funds back, according to from keeping to what the Supreme Court have said, and we are seeing that both the old naira and the new are running concurrent in the economy. We expect that in this second quarter to see improvement, and don't forget that in this second quarter also we expect to see incoming government. All is going to play out. Also, we expect to see another MPC meeting coming on in this same May again, this same quarter again in May. These are the things all eyes will look at for investors to see what will play out in this season. All eyes on what on this. But if you look at UBA now, I can tell you that the figure that I was saying was very, very impressive. The profit after tax also moved from 118.7 billion to 170.28 billion. You can see this was good, 43% up. You can see that both the top line and the bottom line are in 2 digits. It's a good sign for UBA, and for me this is interesting, and this also should guide investors in taking their investment decision. Profit after profit, then if you look at the net assets, for this bank, and I told you that when you see that a bank's um, cash flow is negative because of their nature of the activity, you don't need to bother yourself because it tells you that your bank is lending more and that will bring more yield to them. That means I tell you for other companies when you see a negative cash flow it become, but for this bank whenever you say don't worry, you look at also their investment cash flow and finance, it will from there to net it up. But once you see it, then you know that the bank is expanding. That's why I said no, your loan advances is very, very important. For you to even grow your activities, you must expand your loan capacity. But on that thinking that when you expand your capacity and they were unable to pay, it will also reflect on your non-performing loan. But the figure we have seen so far from the banks in terms of non-performing loan, most of the banks have improved and most of them are below the regulators' requirement or benchmark. For me, it's a good one for that industry. UBN, as we speak now, the net assets stood at 990, 900 and 922.1 billion. Almost CB is heading toward a trillion net asset. I know that some banks have started. That is a good one. Now, final dividend, as we say, UBA has paid 90 kobo against 80 kobo in 2020. That means a cumulative of what 1 naira 10 kobo plus we pay earlier. This is for what for UBA, and that is what I know. I expect investors to also guide them in taking their decision as we speak. Yes, another company that bank that also came with a very pathetic number, but payout was the issue is FCMB. FCMB, I will tell you, this bank has shown capacity in terms of numbers we have seen in recent years. 2022 was a good year for the bank, and their Q1, Q2, Q3 we saw these banks maintaining an uptrend. For me, it's a good one. Also, don't forget, as many of the banks are going back to work to universal banking, even in indirect form, by becoming a holding company or hold for whatever I call it, is going to impact positive on them. But for those that are already there that understand the cost and also yes, the must see expansion continue, especially the life of FCMB. We have seen that the bank has improved despite their conservative in terms of their dividend payouts, which have reflected on this these numbers we have seen and what they pay. For me, it was not too encouraging for investors because of what to add a good earnings. You are paying us peanuts from the number. I think investors are not happy with this kind of number, and that the management of FCMB should also put in mind. We saw that SCMB gross earning was up from 212.1 billion naira to 283 billion. Can see from 212 billion to 283 billion for just 2022 financial year. This is about 33% up. Me, this is good, and I'll tell you that the profit before tax also stood at 36.6 billion against 22.7 billion in 2021. This is a good one. Finally, as traders and investors who are interested in what the company and profit after tax that give us the earning per share. When a company profit after tax remain positive, it tells you that the number will be sustained if the cash flow also look in that direction. We see that profit after tax for FCMB for the year ended 2022 stood at 31.13 billion against 20.9 billion naira. That is almost 49% up, 48.82. This is huge for FCMB, but where the market were not happy that FCMB dividend payout was poor. If you look at the net assets of FCMB, also grew by almost 13.2% from 243.81 billion to 275.9 billion, representing 13% of I've said earlier. This is the number that are looking good. If you look at the profit margin for this company, it's also truly up 31.78. For me, it's a good one for the period under review. But if you look at the payout was the concern. To say that the company paid 25 kobo against 20 kobo in 2021, and the earnings of about 1 naira 63 kobo for me is not too attractive. But the bank remains healthy. We're on the strength of number. We're on the strength of the number we're seeing. For me, let's keep our finger crossed. For those that are disappointed in this company, what you can do is to what if the price have dropped this morning, or if you want to advise, you don't look at the your investment object, look at your stop loss. Has it touched your stop loss? If not, you can try to exit. But if you have gone below your stop loss and selling will affect your capital, I think it's better to do otherwise by waiting to see the Q1 and see where they are heading, because we saw that Q2 number was impressive. The full year was impressive, and we expect to see that trend continue in this current financial year. Yeah, look at the last one before we jump into looking at the life market because of our time. Finally, we're looking at let's look at number that came from Okomu. Okay, let me leave Okomu. So let's look at Okomu. Fine, let's go to Okomu to look at what Okomu. Okomu released almost a 12 naira final dividend again after they have paid 2 naira and 7 naira interim. That is about 9 naira interim. In addition to this, you can see what the cumulative will be. That means that this company has become what, for me, investors to test of payout, and that's where you can see the price remain stable at that price. Okomu, revenue was up by 58%, 0.6, from 37.4 billion to 59.3 billion for financial year ended 2022. In that direction, the profit after tax, after we have taken away the tax paid and also the cost of sales and all related, that's that the profit after tax for the period stood at what, at 16.23 billion against 11.54 billion. That is 40% up. This is good. And also the net assets for this company was slightly down or flat. Let me see, it was flat, about 34.3 and 34.05. You can see this is a flat number. For final dividend is coming from, and any per share for this period stood at what, at 18 naira, and that also from there was a dividend of 12 naira 50 final. And if you look at the cumulative, is it that the company has put on his reserve to pay, or to to compare to kind of compensate investor or to make them happy? But I think this payout for me is very good and attractive for investor. And if you look at the operating cash flow, still not looking bad, and that tells you that there's something in for investor in the current financial year, as far that the relatively palm oil price in the international market remain up. And don't forget that the market share for these palm oil companies, really the market is still very huge, and if they have opportunity also to export, that also the end hard currency, because the demand is very high over there. On this note, we'll move to see what is happening in the market on a live basis. Let's look at what the market doing as we speak now. What is the market position because of our time? It's good to look at this so that when you're looking at the index market flow, it tells you exactly. Yes, market maintain. Now I told you earlier in the morning, at the beginning, sorry, the market was going. As we speak now, market is still in the downside. We're seeing a market trading 54,163.94. Market is down by 20.40. Market is down by 0.02. They can tell that the market is still flat, as I said earlier. But if you look at market breadth is almost flat. We're seeing 10 losers and also almost 10 gainers at this point, waiting for the next level between now and the market close. But if you look at the gainers level, or they are almost flat as we speak. That is the market. If you look at the declining side of the market, we're seeing the multiverse is one leading as we speak now, followed by FCMB. FCMB is back by now almost 8 point something. Then also multiplied by almost 9.9. We're seeing livestock feed, we're seeing a vital food, and also Shield PS, which is a converted hormone. These are the top losers as we speak. But if you look at the gainer chart, you can see that the Circle is topping the market with 10% flat up, followed by NACO. NACO is almost 9.6%. NACO has crossed the almost heading to has crossed the 9 naira pack to getting to 10 naira to speak. Then also Pacific Liquid Assurance up by almost 8%. Then Sooner Assurance is also there, and Pacific Wapik. I see the insurance company are coming up, and that also I will refer you to see that insurance this year was seeing improved payout from insurance company. That is an eye opener for those that are thinking long term where you should do and what you should do now. But if you look at terms of volume, we are seeing that Fidelity continue to dominate trading about 44.56 million shares, followed by Mansard 23.2 million shares, Transcorp flat at that same at 137, 7.8 million shares. Also, you can see the life of Suna Assurance. Sorry, you can see the life of Access Lasaco following Transcorp with about 7.4 million shares. Finally, you can see that Access Corp have come below the 8 naira, below okay 8 naira, below 9 naira, trading around 8 naira something as we speak now, with 6.4 million shares traded. You can see that the market is somehow this hour. But finally, we go to our chart to see what is happening to the market. Let's quickly call our index and also call our chart indicators. The index is up already. Let's call the indicators that we want to quickly look at to tell us what is happening. We have seen that there's a kind of a change we saw yesterday. Let's see what the trend is saying now as we speak. Money flow, look at what is happening there, and also finally our silver, good one. But we're going using this 30 this hour to just look at it before we call it a day. Yes, you can see that market is still, look at it, the all share index movement. You can see that the market is slightly below the T line as we speak now. Like I told you earlier, and the volume traded so far relatively small. But if you look at your MACD for me has turned off from the movement we saw yesterday. Is almost crossing over. MACD has come down to remain in the bearish, in the bearish zone. Before yesterday, we were thinking that it will cross, that it's trying to look up for now. But the good thing that the money flow is not looking down, but looking up slightly to sustain the 37 point something percent we saw it closed yesterday. Let's see how far the market will go. And this 1 hour a day chart. Let's look at the 1 hour chart for the market index. On the for 1 hour, market is still below the T line. And I see that the MACD is becoming bearish and money flow is looking down on the 1 hour chart. Finally, for this, look at the 15-minute chart for the market. What I was saying there. On 15-minute chart, I'll tell you the market is still slight trending and also trading flat on what on the T line. As also money flow is also low around 36, below 50. Let's keep our finger crossed in this regard. Like yesterday, we look at Fidelity and see what's happening there. For this morning, we're seeing the life of FCMB and Vitafood. And we'll see how far FCMB will go down from this point where it is now. It's good that we look at it. FCMB, how far will it go down from here? Let's see what the chart will tell us. On the 15-minute chart, you can see that the stock trying to stabilize a little. Even at this point that it's bearish, looking at MACD, but you can see the in candlestick they were not seeing it. Just put down today and see the next 15 minutes. They're not going to come up a little. For me, it's a sign. Let's look at the 1 hour chart for FCMB to give us a clear. As I said, you can see on 1 hour the stock trying to also to come up again to the band, and MACD is still telling us that yes, it's bearish. But let's look at what it is. Money flow is also looking down to read the 32, which is below the 50. But the good sign that let's wait and see how it's going to finish the day. Look at the day chart for the stock. On a day chart, I will tell you, can see the formation here. It might likely to see that this stock will resist decline, because you can see also what MACD is doing. MACD is trying to also confirm a bearish but still slightly in green. But money flow is reading 44 for FCMB on a day chart. There's no cause for alarm. Let's watch the vaccine try to resist decline. It depends on what the number they come with from their Q1, and also when the price is adjusted down, it becomes attractive for we traders also to look at. We'll look at the Vitafoam before we look at Fidelity to run the market up for today. Vitafoam for me is still trading below the T line. If you look at the T line, you can see where it is. And market flow, despite that the market trading below the T line, sorry, the money flow remained high, around 75, which is also good on a day chart. And MACD is also bearish at the way it's becoming. You can see it here that it's just on the other side, which is on the downside. And we'll see to watch to see what will be the position in the as from tomorrow. But let's look at the 1 hour chart for Vitafoam. Vitafoam on 1 hour chart, you can also see that yes, This is a bearish candle, but we are still, a kind of a bullish candle, but yet to confirm. We're trying to resist also decline here coming out for me. Money flow is also, almost at 68, 69, 68, and we're seeing MACD, looking, bullish on a 1 hour chart for Vitafoam. Finally, look at what is happening in Fidelity again today. This volume in Fidelity is telling us something is happening, and we need to look at what is happening in Fidelity. Instead to read the result, Fidelity and the Access Bank and the what's it called, GT code are yet to release their number. Even that of LBN holding, we have not seen the result. Let's see what, Fidelity will look like before we call it today. Our time is fast spent. You can see that Fidelity remain on a 1 hour chart. You can see that the stock remain above the T line, which is good. But we already seen that money flow is relatively low, below 50, reading 34. That is on the 1 hour chart. But for me, on the 1 hour chart, the stock is looking strong to still below the T line. And we're seeing volume here. Despite that it's not much, we're seeing volume coming up here. And the MACD is still, bullish, but the sign of weakness has come already in that chart. But then look at a day chart now for the stock. On a day chart, like I said, volume was seeing. You can see that all the volume have been coming, but volume is coming down gradually here, and we see that volume is trading above the average traded volume. Where as we speak now, and money flow is almost 58, looking up, and the MACD is bullish. That's why it's not too strong, but I see that it's a bullish MACD on the volume, and it's trading also above the T line. But the light candlestick was saying, for me, it's not a good candlestick. This candlestick is also, signal, kind of weakness. It has touched as far as 5 naira 40 kobo before coming to trade at this 537, and wait and see the number, and that where to go from here. On this note, I will say thank you for your time. Yes, we look forward to see you tomorrow, and also before we go on holiday, toward the end of the week. Bye for now, and see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your trading day. Bye.